One great thing about living independently is you really begin to learn who you are and what it is you want. The universe isn't just out there, it's interacting with you. Claim your power by embracing the unknown. This is Tracy with Tracy Talks, and I'm here to ignite your curiosity. Don't just listen, embrace it. There have been people that I've known that have been absolutely terrified to live alone. And for all of the potential hypothetical things that could happen, that nobody would find you, that nobody's there to assist you, there are some very positive aspects about being an adult and living alone. I have also personally witnessed many couples who have been in relationships with people who are a very strong, dominating personality. And when you spend decades with someone who dominates the narrative, meaning whenever you say something, they override you, tell you why you're wrong, tell you what's wrong with that, it can slowly start to change how you see yourself. And when you have somebody around who wants to control the narrative, there becomes this slow process of where I've seen people, they don't actually know what it is that they want anymore. They don't know what they believe in. They don't know what they like. They don't know what they need, because there is this internal struggle within them. And when you're with somebody who wants to control how you feel, how you see the world, you don't actually know who you are or what it is that you want. I look back at me being a young person and moving into my 20s. And even though I can be a person who is outspoken, who is not afraid to speak their mind, there was still a process of where I was figuring out who I was. I didn't really know what it is that I wanted. I didn't always have an opinion. But I also look at women who move from the traditional home into a relationship very early on in their 20s. They didn't have alone time to develop their sense of identity and what it is that they want. And sometimes this doesn't just happen immediately. We just don't always know who it is that we are, what it is that we want, and how we actually feel about something. And so I've seen women who move from the home, they're a young adult, they get married early, and they're with a very strong personality. Sometimes when we live with people and we have to negotiate, we start chipping away at who we are. Because some things, even though we may feel a certain way, some things are not worth a battle. They're not worth staking ground. And after a certain point, I've actually seen women who just lose themselves in the relationship, in the situation. And now it's not always easy to come back from something like that because we condition ourselves. And so something significant, really significant happens, or a situation occurs, and we start to doubt how it is we really feel because it's different than our partners. We have a different opinion. And then there's an internal struggle of, am I allowed to have a different opinion when I have negotiated so many other big decisions away? And it becomes very difficult to know what it is that you actually want and what it is you need and who you are and what's best for you. Me living alone has been one of the biggest identity builders in my life. And it's a little scary at first. It's a little unnerving not having somebody around to bounce things off of. But I can truly say that this has been when I have learned who it is that I actually am and what it is that I actually want. Even in our society, as much progress that women have made, there is still a dynamic that happens in relationships. I have seen it. I have personally experienced it. Men, for as much as they say that they are progressive and supportive, a lot of them still will fall back into traditional gendered norms and expectations and ideas. And I look around at my life. It is going to be difficult for me to fall back into a traditional relationship with a traditional man. I'm not going to fall back into those norms. I'm not going to give up my opinion. I'm not going to make concessions. I did that. I did that 25 years ago, and I was miserable. I found myself today having a conversation with someone in my life. You are allowed to have your own opinion. You are allowed to do what it is that you want to do. And for some women who have been in relationships where they have not been the dominant voice, it is actually terrifying. Not only to speak your truth, but to try to navigate through all of those feelings. There's a whole other level of what is it that I actually do feel? What is my own opinion? I've actually seen couples who share the same opinion, but in an argument are so against being on the same side that somebody will actually flip just so they can argue, just so they don't agree. And it's crazy how much we can change when we get into a relationship. It can be crazy how we take on beliefs, ideas, and behaviors of other people to the point where we lose ourselves. And I know it can be easy to lose ourselves. Even someone like me who is a strong personality, who can speak up, there are times where negotiations to some degree may be needed. And there's this slippery slope of, where is that line? Where's that needle? And does it get moved? Does it get pushed out? And how do we bring it back in once we've pushed it out? Like, if we agreed to something one time, I have known people who will say, well, it was okay last time, but we do have the right to change our mind. We do have the right to make decisions that are best for us. I hope that each of you have someone in your life that does support you, that does encourage you and believe in you if you need it. Because there's so many times where I look back on relationships and I made concessions. I did things that I didn't really want to do because it was best for the relationship. And now I know I should have just let the relationship fall away. It wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it for me to lose myself and who I am and what I need and what I want. This identity that I have established, I'm not going to ever negotiate it away again. Thank you for listening to this episode of Tracy Talks. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe, and share with others who would enjoy listening to this podcast. Friends can find Tracy Talks available on iTunes, Spotify, Substack, and YouTube. Hit me up on Instagram and Facebook at More Tracy Talks. And until next time, we meet again.